Hey, I'm your host Keith with For the Tech of It, and today I'm going to talk to you about reviving an old computer right after this. So let's open this discussion at talking about a few of the PC restoration value propositions. So first off, by restoring an old PC, it places that unused computer back into service. You can start using it again for whatever computing tasks you were using it for before. Keeps it out of a landfill. After restoring it, you can sell it. You may no longer need to purchase a new PC. Who knows? Many of us, our computing habits haven't changed a whole lot. If you used your computer for browsing the web, maybe editing a few documents here or there, watching some movies or something like that, this old computer, if it was doing it before, it can certainly do it again. You can also donate it to a charitable cause, and you have a potential tax write-off right there. So let's talk about e-waste for a moment. So what do you really know about electronic waste or e-waste? So each year, people all over the world are upgrading their electronic devices. People upgrade their phones, their tablets, computers, monitors, printers, watches, various types of electronic devices for the newer models. And unfortunately, in too many cases, these older devices are eventually discarded and end up in a landfill. So if you have the opportunity, folks, and you just don't want to keep those old devices, hand them down to a family member or to a friend or put them up for sale. I assure you someone online is going to be willing to purchase those devices from you. Now, according to an eridirect.com report, there was some 44.7 million metric tons of e-waste produced in the year 2016. It's estimated that only 20% of this was properly collected and recycled, and the vast majority of it ended up in landfills or improperly disposed of. So don't just throw these devices in the trash can, folks. All right, on to the good stuff. Today I'm going to really illustrate how easy it was to install the solid-state drive and 8 gigs of RAM in a 2011 Toshiba Satellite L675D laptop. Now, on Amazon, I think it was, I purchased both the SSD and 8 gigs of RAM for this laptop. I paid about $65, plus tax, of course. And the total install time, including installing the operating system, was about somewhere between 20 to 25 minutes. So if we look at this table that I have here, on the left I have before upgrading the configuration of the machine and after upgrading it. So there are 3 things that I had done. I, of course, upgraded the memory. It started out with 4 gigs of RAM. I doubled that to 8. I upgraded from a standard magnetic spinning hard drive, which is 160 gigabytes, to a 120 gigabyte SSD, way faster. And of course, the machine shipped with Windows 7, which is really no longer supported by Microsoft, so I installed a fully supported version of Linux. And over to the right, that's just a little picture of the laptop. It has a pretty nice size keyboard deck. It includes a numeric keypad over to the right. The display is a 1600 by 900 resolution, so it is a widescreen display. It's a 17-inch diagonal screen, so it's a pretty big laptop. It comes with, by the way, this particular model machine, the Toshiba Satellite L675 models, you could buy them with either an Intel processor or an AMD processor. This particular unit has an AMD processor. It's an AMD Turion 2. It's a dual-core processor, 2.3 gigahertz, and it's a 64-bit CPU. The webcam, it has built-in webcam, built-in microphone. It has AMD graphics. It has an internal DVD read-write drive. You don't find that any longer. It has an SD card slot, 2 USB ports. I think it's USB 2.0. It does have a separate headphone and microphone jack if you want to plug in, a separate mic or a pair of speakers or some headphones. It comes with Ethernet and it has built-in Wi-Fi. All right, so there are a few things you want to do before we get started here. So I don't want you to go out and purchase anything just yet. You want to perform what I call a basic litmus test to make sure that the computer in question is still functional and it's even worth upgrading. So the first thing you definitely want to do is back up any important files that you may still have stored on that computer's hard drive. So what I like to do is I buy a external USB hard drive or an external USB thumb drive, and I'll just back the files up to that. And then what you want to do is attempt to run either the newest version of Windows, which is currently Windows 10, or you can perhaps install your choice of Linux. And what I'll do is I'll include a link to my website where I list a few of my favorite Linux distributions that work pretty well on older hardware. So you want to definitely give that a try. Now, if you decide that you do want to upgrade this device, there are some fairly common tools that you want to have available. So a basic computer repair toolkit will cost you under $25 for sure. Most of the time for these older machines, as example, this Toshiba machine that I upgraded, all it needed was a simple Phillips head screwdriver. I didn't even have to have a separate toolkit for it. You'll also want to have a separate USB flash drive available with at least 8 gigabytes of storage capacity. And again, this is one separate from the one that you use for backing up your files. Don't use the same drive, because when you have that flash drive, you're going to be installing Linux, a copy of Linux on it. It's going to erase everything off of that drive. So use a separate drive. Okay, here's the laptop that we're working with here. So this is the Toshiba Satellite L675D. And we'll open it up here, let you take a look at the keyboard and screen and what have you. So as you can see, it's all plastic design. But considering how old it is, this laptop has held up very, very well. It belonged to an old friend of mine, and he bought it many years ago. Now, it's got pretty nice keyboard layout. The screen's really good, glossy screen. It has a numeric keypad, and I do like numeric keypads. Now the trackpad is okay. It's okay. That's about all I can say about it. All right, so let's get to upgrading this thing. Actually, I've already upgraded it, but I'm going to show you exactly what I did. So the bottom of it actually has one screw. It's a Phillips head screw that keeps the cover plate on. And then you can just pry this plastic plate off using a simple Phillips head screwdriver. That's what I have here. And I'll go ahead and take the screw off, remove the screw, and pry up this little cover plate here. Now, once it comes off, there are several clips that you just, gently pull up on. You don't want to break it because it's all plastic. So once it comes off, you'll see you'll have access to both the hard drive as well as the RAM. Now, I've already upgraded the hard drive. I put the solid state drive in, and I've already upgraded the RAM. There are actually 2 RAM slots on this machine. Now, I'll show you exactly how the RAM comes out. There are 2 little clips on the side here. You pull them apart, and the RAM pops out. You'll do it for both RAM chips. And I found this on I think it was on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. It was pretty cheap. So you put the RAM chip, the new RAM chip in, you push down on it, make sure it snaps into place. Sometimes you have to remove it a second time and then snap it back in. That's what I'm going to do now. Let's get this out and push it back in. Once you hear the click, it's in there. Now let's look at the hard drive. There's a little pull tab here. It's as simple as pulling it out. And as you can see, there are 4 little screws here, Phillips head screws. So the same Phillips screwdriver that you use to remove the cover plate, you take these little screws out, replace the hard drive, pop these screws back in, and then it's just as simple as laying it flat and pushing it back into place. That's it. Now once everything is there, we'll put the little plastic cover plate back on. Do that now. Snap everything into place. And just hold it down for a moment. Then I'll take my Phillips head screwdriver and I'll tighten the screw back in. And that's it, folks. It was literally that simple to upgrade this laptop. And I really like this Toshiba laptop. I mean, they made it painfully simple to upgrade. And what you're going to find is that with these laptops, especially the older ones, they are largely this easy to upgrade. Now, right quickly, I just wanted to show you at how fast this laptop is. So we're going to open up a few applications here. I'll start out with the Firefox web browser to show you how easy it is and quick it is to start browsing the internet. Now, this laptop, after I installed the memory and the SSD, is anywhere from 2.5 to 3 times faster than it was before. I mean, I was amazed at how quick this laptop is now compared to what it was. So as you can see, browsing the internet, it's pretty snappy. Let's see, we might try the Ubuntu site here. There's a lot of graphics on there. Yeah, here we go. So browsing the web, just like you normally would on a more modern laptop, it's no different here. It may be just slightly slower, but not by much. And I think I mentioned earlier on in this episode that, if you're restoring an old laptop, whatever that laptop did for you before, you can actually do it again with this laptop. It's as if it's just been reborn. And all I did was updated 2 components. I updated the memory, and I put an SSD inside this machine. Then I installed Linux. What you're looking at here is a version of a distribution of Linux called Solus, S-O-L-U-S. And again, I'll have a link to my website, which has a list of those Linux distributions that I find work fairly well on older machines. Solus happens to be one. So right now we're going to install Google Chrome, because I know a lot of folks like Chrome. And it's going to take a little while to get Chrome installed because the install is fairly large. So while that's running in the background, we'll open up an Office type application. Now, I use FreeOffice. By default, Solus ships with LibreOffice, and that's a perfectly good Office suite. But I just like the look and feel of FreeOffice. It reminds me of Microsoft Office. And this is the TextMaker word processor right here. We'll also go to the File Explorer. This is the File Explorer, how you get access to your files. And we're going to go into the budgie settings. So here's how you change the different look and feel or the theme of your desktop. If you don't like that dark look and feel, you can change over to a light theme if some of you who prefer that. You can also change what the icons look like. So it's a very flexible and easy to use open source operating system, and I encourage you to try it out or one of the others that I'm going to make available to you on my website. And all the links are there as well. So I'm going to go back to the dark theme. I'm more of a dark theme type person. It's a little easier on my eyes. There we go. And we'll get the icons back to the Papyrus Dark. I like those too. Looks a little more modern to me. And these are just some other settings available to you in Solus. I'm not really here reviewing Solus, but just to show you, look at how responsive this old Toshiba laptop is. This thing is, as I said, 2011. So, per the time of this recording, it's 10 years old. Outside of that, let's see how much memory we're using here. This is a utility called HTOP, and I'll make the font a little bit bigger for you so you can see it here a little better. There we go. So we're right at about 1.65 gigabytes of RAM being used out of 8 gigabytes. And keep in mind, I still have the Firefox browser open, The screen recording software is running. I've got the software center that's installing Google Chrome. Looks like Google Chrome just finished. Yeah, I think it did. Let's open up the system monitor right quick. This is a really nice tool. It shows you graphically, the network traffic. I'm only using a little over 20% of the RAM. It's a dual core CPU, so it's not being maxed out or anything at the moment. And we'll go ahead into Google Chrome here. Let me close out of Firefox first. Go into Chrome. And this is the first time we're opening up Google Chrome. Let me deselect this. And there's Chrome, popped up just like that. We'll go to website here, OMG Ubuntu. Click the link. So it's snappy. This laptop is very, very usable now. Before I upgraded it, it was a pain. Everything was extremely slow. Again, 2.5 to 3 times faster than what it was before. And you all saw, it only took me just a few minutes to pop the bottom off, upgrade the components in it, and that was it. And install Solus. So a total maybe 15, 20 minutes, I think it was, that it took me to do everything plus install Solus. And this is the Solus website. You click here to download it, install it, and you're good to go. So as you've seen, upgrading an old computer in many cases is inexpensive, easy to do, and it can be very rewarding. So before you go, please subscribe to my channel and do let me know if you found this episode helpful, because I want to continue to produce content like this that's useful to you. And as I stated earlier, I'll include a link to my website where you can find information on different Linux distributions that I happen to like and that work pretty well on these older machines. You'll also find information that I have on my blogs, which is also on my site, as well as other useful technology-related information that I've done in the past, including other videos. So until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.